The front plank is an anti-extension core exercise that everyone should aim to master. The midline stability gained from training this movement will have a big carryover to your strength training. Unfortunately, like most exercises, it's easy to cheat, and as a result, it reduces the effectiveness of the exercise. This video will be covering 10 of the most common mistakes that people make with planks. I feel it's important to know what not to do to improve awareness during a plank. Don't worry, at the end of the video we'll finish by covering how to apply perfect form, so make sure to watch all the way to the end. Hey everyone, Daniel Vadnal here for Fitness FAQs. Let's start off with the first mistake, really long holds of the plank. It's very common to see people doing planks for several minutes during a set, often with poor form and minimal effort. Working at such a low intensity is a waste of time, and training with a mindless approach will not create the results that we want. When working with long duration holds, the intensity is not enough for creating a strong core. Those doing planks longer than a minute need to firstly correct their technique. Once technique is perfected, only then should the exercise difficulty be increased. When the lower back arches during a plank, the anterior core muscles are not firing. Instead, the muscles on the lower back are working to stabilize the spine. This definitely isn't a useful activation strategy for midline stability when we do our general strength training. This arch technique is quite passive in nature, and this small compensation makes the plank feel easier and it drops the intensity. During the front plank, one of the other techniques for making things easier is a hips high strategy. The reason why we prefer not to use this technique when doing a bracing exercise is the application. I mean, rarely during exercise or general training do we need to have our ass up in the air like this, so we don't want to do this with our planks. Instead, we want to brace our core with a straight body to be strong in a straight body position during any exercise that we choose to do. We tend to spend our days in an internally rotated shoulder position when we use a computer, phone, driving, etc. etc. Therefore, training should be a time to make things challenging and improve on our weaknesses. If we keep our arms facing inwards, we're continuing to add strength to a potentially dysfunctional position. This isn't something that we want to do. If you take one thing from this whole video, it will be paying attention to your breath. Shallow breathing doesn't allow the core muscles to fully activate. If you try a plank set taking shallow breaths compared to complete deep breaths in and out, it's going to become obvious what I mean. Additionally, some people hold their breaths during a plank for extended periods of time. I mean, come on everyone, we're doing a bracing exercise here, not a 1 rep max squat or deadlift. Breathe during the plank set. The following are related to shoulder and back position. These are small points but worth keeping in mind for strengthening the weak links in the back and the shoulders. Having the shoulders shrugged up towards the ears is lazy technique. Most people tend to be quite dominant in the upper traps, and this technique doesn't address mid-back strength, which is an area lacking in most people. This area of shrugging up tends to be related to the next area of form breakdown, upper back positioning. Excessive hunching of the upper back is also common. Once again, during daily life, with all the sitting that we're forced to do, the upper back is constantly flexed. I want to ask you, why then during exercise would we want to continue making this hunchback posture even stronger? It's not that hunching the upper back is bad or dangerous, we just want to use exercise as an opportunity to move into positions that we don't during regular daily life. The last shoulder position people tend to get lazy in is the scapular position. Resting passively into retraction doesn't encourage strengthening of the shoulder stabilizers. As you can see from all these form breakdown points, they're not preferred because they don't train our weaknesses. I want to take a look at the lower half of the body during planks. Bending the legs reduces full body tension and stability. This mistake has an effect up the body, and it encourages the lower back and the shoulders to relax. Although it doesn't seem important, bending legs has a global impact on the plank form. We're all masters of making exercise easier, it's just what we do. If the legs are straddled during a plank, the base of support is wider, which makes the exercise easier. The last area that people tend to get lazy with is neck positioning. I often see people drop the neck down and rest it on their hands to make the movement less challenging. Otherwise, it comes down to cranking the neck forward and up, aka gooseneck action, and this happens all the time. If you just aim for good technique in the plank, the neck muscles will strengthen over time. Let's summarize the plank and how to do the exercise properly for the best results. Start off with by setting the lower back and the hips in a good position. You want to hollow out the lower back by doing a posterior pelvic tilt and feeling the anterior core tighten. The hips should be slightly lower than or level with the height of the shoulders. To create a strong, stable shoulder position, the forearms should be pointing straight ahead. This alignment promotes a more externally rotated shoulder position, making the rear shoulder muscles active. Using this position is very, very important for stability. A small cue which helps with full body tension is making a fist and gripping your hands very tight. This increases rotator cuff activation and encourages the abdominal muscles to work even harder. With our shoulders, we want to be protracted. Think of pressing the forearms into the ground, the chest is going to lift slightly away from the floor. Don't forget to keep in mind back position. We don't want to be hunched. We want to be nice and tall through the upper back. Remember the importance of the lower body. Keep the legs together and the quads tight, as this creates a strong brace position through the entire body. I mentioned earlier how important breathing is. I want you to take full breaths in and out directed towards the stomach. If you get comfortable breathing deeply during a plank, breathing and bracing mechanics will improve in general strength exercises in your own training. I hope you found this video useful for fixing the most common plank mistakes. If you enjoyed the content and want to support Fitness FAQs, leave a thumbs up on this video. At Fitness FAQs, we've created a series of training programs to help you master your body. Go to fitnessfaqs.tv website, sign up, and begin reaching your calisthenics goals today.
And can you bend a knee as well doing it? Yeah.